you all decide that you're going to ignore a deadline or
My mama
the people are stupid enough to believe since one boy is breaking things in the classroom, the other boy is missing a wall. That's what this is the equivalent.
You should be ashamed.
Well, John's over there messing up, so we just go piss it away. This is what they do.
You should be ashamed.
It's John's fault for the
You should be ashamed.
And at BS in Hartley, you have a BA and a master's in Parkinson. You have a 1% acceptance rate university in Foot. And these folks told you, the rest of them are successful business people and are successful in their own rights. And they're saying that,
So how did you say this is nothing for them?
we missed that deadline. That's the only way we do, because that's not our job.
No, I'm saying
we don't have that
experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But how did you not know there was a deadline? Why are you not watching it? How could that possibly be that 7 educated people missed the deadline? But this is that Gomer aspect that we're talking about. And you all know Gomer, the doopy deputy. This is what Stokes pulls on you all. And now all 7 members of the city council have joined him. They joined him.
Yeah, it's the okie doke.
Oh, I'm just a good. No, you're not. You're more educated than I can imagine. I wish I had a JD from Thurgood Marshall University. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. I love law. I wish I could boast and say I have a master's in education. All these young children need help. I wish I had these accolades. I don't proclaim to them when people say, why don't you run? Because I'm not really the qualified one.
What was the specific date the rate increase? Was it the 12th? I mean, was it it was March the 13th, I think.
Then it went through, yes. Yeah,
so they had 30 days after that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Was it the 13th? So it wasn't the 13th. It must have been,
what
yes.
was going on in those 30 days? Mardi Gras, all these other events.
Oh, man. They were there.
Y'all
They
ain't
were
forget
there.
that though.
Parade. They
Stokes was dancing. Don was dressed up like a leprechaun throwing candy out the back of the car.
What's going on with these priorities?
That's what's happening in 30 days. Now, let me tell you what else was happening in those 30 days. They were courting Chief Brackney around to every location no average black Jacksonian was, or average white Jacksonian for that matter. Let me just be honest, where no average Jacksonian was. They were blocking their Facebook pages so no one could communicate with the chief. This is a lot of energy it takes into doing these things. They were putting forth different deals that allowed white contractors from outside of Jackson to get a lot of the money. There was a post that said a city was complaining that a lot of money was not going to us, but was going to Jackson contractors. And I said, that's not true. Jackson's money's not even going to Jackson contractors. Who do you think a Jackson contractor is? Do you consider Wicker a Jackson contractor because they moved an office into Jackson?
They're talking about all the contractors that are doing work in Jackson. And those aren't Jackson.
And that's what our people don't understand. You move your office in there, and a lot of these folks never moved their business address out of Jackson. You got to understand that. A lot of these folks that ran with the white flight and went into Flowood Pearl, the businesses, especially the ones that went all the way into Richland, you'll go into Richland and see something that says Jackson. You'll find out they had a main office in Jackson. Their business address is still Jackson. So they're still benefit.
It's like putting the vending machine in Jackson. And they put money, but they take the money and take it to Memphis.
That's right. That's right. But they're saying they're a Jackson business. You're not a Jackson business in any way, shape, or form. You just rented space in Jackson. That's all it takes to be a business. It's different than a resident. So I'm not saying I'm a resident. I'm just this is that gives us great insight, because you're right. Not just that, but we've seen downtown Jackson partners, and when you see it, and some people get bothered when we say certain things. It's okay. You see our mayor in a picture with downtown Jackson partners every other day from the moment he was in office, or with some other group. I talked about it yesterday with the museum. I went to the wrong museum by chance. I was going to my child's event at the Science Museum. I walked into the Children's Museum. Now, the young man and I just read off how the Children's Museum got $5 million, and we questioned whether even 30,000 of that would go towards a bus that could take these young children from Jackson, Mississippi, from all parts of Jackson, out to this park after school and on the weekends, a free bus that their parents could use to take them to this park. Since you're putting 13 million into the floors, that's not the 5 million so this is how they trick you. So they say 13 into the floor, and then they say another 5 million into the Children's Museum, but LaFleur's Bluff, the park, and the Children's Museum are all right there. So in actuality, you're putting 18 million into something for everybody in the state of Mississippi. And what have you given the residents of the city? That's when they're pissing down your back and telling you it's raining, and you got to be able to see that. So LaFleur's got 18 million. The Pete Brown Golf Course got 250,000, and what was the homeowners estate right off of Beasley got 100,000 for cameras. Part of that. That's what the black people of Jackson got. No basketball courts at the least. We really want schools reopened. We really want after school programs. None of that.
What you, I mean, y'all saying with the HOA that was on TV?
Lake Caroline. That was the HOA.
Lake Caroline.
Lake Caroline HOA. They got $100,000 to help put up cameras to secure their, which we applaud our brothers and sisters. We all need it, is all we're saying. That's all we're saying. Please don't have a pictures of some of them. You don't need to be secure. Why is it just happening to Lake Caroline? Why is it just happening to North Jackson? Why is it just happening to Fondren? Why is it just happening to Gabriel Prado and Surinder Singh and the other people on his entrepreneurial team that supported him? How is that okay to come into office and only support those that supported you?
Everybody
And
gets
now,
in the back seat.
everybody gets in the back seat. And now our city council has jumped on board and starting to shift the accountability. But I can't. I'm sorry, yo.
I'm not buying it. I'm
621-948-5954.
If y'all don't know they lying to y'all, if y'all actually believe that,
I don't think it's that they believe it at all. It's the well, I hope not. To your point, it's the it's the audacity of I mean, listen, it's even worse than folks believe.
It's an insult to your intelligence.
It's an insult to my people, and it hurts my soul. And I mean that. Now, I don't use those words lightly. It hurt my soul, and my producer, we were looking at this, and especially in a little older age, it hurt us inside to see this happen because we called it. And that's not something we're proud of on the show. But we said to folks, watch for that narrative shift. Mm-hmm. We said that at the moment the redistribute, and let's just go back slowly. And this is why you have to understand what happened in order to understand what's happening. So we went back to when they were redistricting. You all remember before Jasmine Barnes ran, had a good chance of winning, right? Mm-hmm. See how when you see that perspective? We talked about the redistricting of Jackson, remember? You had to have an equal amount of people in all the wards. Vernon Hartley went on a tour with Ashby Foote and told everybody that we went to the Cedars and a few other places and said, the only people you can trust in the city council are myself, Stokes, and Foote. Then when it was time to redistrict, the folks that Hartley wanted to gain, he didn't gain. Folks lost flood protection with the deal. Black folks that would have had flood protection lost it with the shift of people because he ran with Foote. Foote got exactly what he wanted out of the deal and then won by a slim margin. Now, just go look at what people that would not have voted for Foote, would voted for Barnes or someone else, got removed out of his district. Remember, it was a point. So all you needed was, 11 people? I think it was 11 votes.
Yep, it was less than 20 people.
Less than 20 people.
And they wouldn't stop redistricting for nothing.
They wouldn't stop for anything. So, but Hartley supported Ashby Foote, ran around with him and said, Ashby can be trusted. This is not an insult against our brother Hartley. This is Brother Malcolm and all of our past leaders telling us you got to call it what it is. When they said in that leader to make you feel like you're not suffering or make you suffer peacefully, you got to call it out. So when Hartley was running around with Foote down to the Cedars, and type it in if you don't know, don't be one of the people to be like, oh, they talk about, type it in and Google it. If we're saying something that's not right, that'll pop up. I've never heard of this. But if the Cedars pops up, you see where it's at, right where Prado's gentrifying right now, and you know that that's where Hartley and Ashby were running their little campaign to get people to push against everyone else on the city council and go with their plan to redistrict. It worked for Foote. And then a sister we probably could have gotten in there didn't get in there. Two sisters run, I believe, in that area. Mm-hmm. Neither of them had a chance because the votes were shifted in a way. This is facts. This is what people don't like. Hartley, you went on that tour with Ashby Foote. Ashby Foote, that change helped you stay in there by a margin of less than 20 votes, and two sisters were running against you that could have helped shift the landscape of Jackson. Right? So that's how we started getting here. Now, what I said to Hartley when we were in Pearl Redistricting Center, where the final decisions were made, now when it was being made, understand our city council. Where was it? Pearl Redistricting Center is where the final meeting with our city council was held to determine how the districts were reallotted with the equal amount of people.
So a Jackson City Council meeting was held in Pearl.
A Jackson City Council meeting was held in Pearl, and there were two white folks. It was about a 45-year-old white man and a 45-year-old white woman. I haven't been able to figure out their names yet. It's the only reason I'm identifying them this way. And they were sitting there, and every time there was a question from the city council about whether they could shift districts a certain way, right? They would ask them, and it was like calculus to fifth graders, right? They didn't understand the math they were doing, so they would just kept throwing it to them. Basically, those two people were determining what the wards looked like. Mm-hmm. Because anytime they said something they didn't like Ashby, you're not going to get as many as you want, the two people would say, hey, that's not going to work. It's not that. And when they would ask them why, they would say, well, the math is, the math that, the math that, and before you knew it, okay, well, that's you all's job to do that. So that's how we lost the chance to get anyone different into that Ward 1, right? So then let's talk about how we got to this place, right? So you have the public screaming no to a city council, to the city council and everyone else, no increase, right? We don't want this 12% increase. We don't want the water authority here. You have the Keith Stamps that comes on to Vernon Hartley's talk show right here at 90.1 and says to him, This is before the water authority had taken place.
Mhm.
You need to slow them down some. This is why we can't allow folks to come up today and start crying foul, talking about something. They're doing this to a black city. No, you're doing it with them. You all are doing it to the black city. We're on the black city part. You're on the white power part in Mississippi trying to take over the resources. Now, I know you don't want to stay on that boat, Jackson City Council, because it's ugly on that boat. But once you vote the way you all have voted, once you support the policies you support, you got to stay on the boat you've been on. Now we can't let you off because you're facilitating that boat moving. So we said we didn't want the increase. Hartley says, as soon as the Keefer tells him about the rate case, if nothing else, the rate case is when the rate increase happens. Now you say, I don't think that rate case is fair. It makes Ted Hennepin and third-party water show all of their documents, everything about how they've been working, and puts it all on the table. Not this garbage we get now, but we only get to get a little bit of it. And that's just, by the way, it's not Hennepin's garbage. It's the actual contract that's written out. Says he only has to respond to Judge Wingate. So we have no way of getting anything, right? So a rate case would force that open. Whether you win or lose, a rate case would slow that water authority takeover down to a halt. And there's nobody that can tell me a lawsuit to stop something is not going to stop something else from going on top of it.
Yep.
Right? So what happens? That's said to Hartley, to our city council, months or two ago. So we talking about a deadline, like all of a sudden they woke up and found out, oh no, there's a deadline. No. The community has been talking for a while about, you got to stop this. You got to file a lawsuit. How does the People's Advocacy Institute, a nonprofit, file a lawsuit before you?
Whose side you on?
Whose side are you? And then mind you, you've done more city council to censor black Democrats than you're speaking at all when Ted Hennepin came in the room and said something, or when they're taking the water authority and stripping it away. Black leadership in Jackson does not like a Kanye moment. Black leadership in Jackson hates black Democrats more than they hate the far right. Apparently. Because they'll stand up against any Democrat. They'll air any mayor out that's a Democrat and then put him all over the news, put him in Madison, make people think he's a thing they'll do. But when
It's time to find a dope boy,
Yeah.
you want to make an ordinance, but now all y'all want to vote on that show. And now it's time to it's something like a dope boy or get dope boys out. But now,
we have a city council that voted back to mayor, backed up another city councilman that introduced an ordinance to say that people that work in Jackson City cannot have relationship with dope boys.
Whatever that means.
whatever that means. What does that even do?
No. This is what's happening here in Jackson, Mississippi. For those outside of it, that's Kenneth Stokes. You see the comedian reading, you see people laughing and making jokes about it. And yes, I get that angle. But there's nothing funny about someone that's sitting on the actual city council and is that ignorant and is that willing to do whatever they need to do.
He's not ignorant. I'm not buying that.
No, not uneducated. No. You're right. They're not ignorant. He's that rude. You're right. You're absolutely right. But a dope boy is slang commonly used to refer to someone who sells illicit drugs such as cocaine or heroin. So basically, anyone in your family, if anyone's been accused of selling an illicit drug and you have a relationship with them, you can't work in a 89% black city. Okay. I like other cities, and I know we get, but I like other cities to tell me where you see things like that happen.
That's a distraction. That's a distraction. That ain't got nothing to do with
But I agree with you 100%, D, to your point. I don't think there's anything ignorant from an education standpoint about these people at all. And I think this is the reason we're sitting on this is like, what do you accept? Like, I really accept that you were the first African American graduate of JPS to serve on the city council, a graduate of Lanier, Jackson State University, longest serving African American elected in Jackson City government. As city council, Juris Doctorate degree in law from Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Texas. He was elected to the city council. He said, how can you tell me with these type of accolades?
You don't know what's going on.
I just don't know what they're doing, boss. I'm sorry you lost your water.
That ain't gonna cut it. That ain't good enough. You got one job.
You too smart for that, brother.
Right.
Stokes. You too smart for that, brother. I don't know what I said, brother. You too smart for that foot. You too smart for that, Brazil. These people have masters. We'll move on, but we have to understand that first.
They playing in your face.
He didn't tell us the deadline was happening. They blast the city attorney. Now we playing hot potato, cold potato. Oh, the city attorney, nobody said nothing about him yet. I mean, I really believe that maybe you just thought that everybody was pointing out what John was doing in office and how unhappy they were, and you just figured, let's just blame it on him after we go along with everything. So now you're blaming it on the city attorney. So now you expect us to believe that the white gentleman with the long, raspy hair is who we have to expect to be our last line of defense. We have 7 council people, and a mayor. And the lawyer is who we should have expected.
Right.
to tell them how to do their job. The one person that can't take any action without a directive from the rest of them. Okay.
Y'all sure y'all want to be the city council?
Jackson State. This is why I say Jackson State Alcorn. It's not a bad thing, y'all, when I say that all the time. Valley State, Piney. I say it because these are the schools where our higher level of professionals come from. You know what I mean? That we're proud of, right? That understand these things. That understand how a city attorney actually operates. Like, how do you blame the city attorney? But that's like you blaming your attorney for not showing up to court. Yeah, it's nice if he lets you know, but really?
Right.
You facing 15 years and you talking about he didn't tell me, the judge. Okay, son, you know what? Have a good life.
You still gonna...
When you standing in front of me when I told you that, so you knew you had the paperwork. You knew you were supposed to be here. You had 30 days to call me and figure out whether or not you didn't have to be here. And you're saying that the lawyer that was standing with you told you that you hired to make sure when you get here, you didn't hire as a babysitter. You hired the lawyer to make sure when you walk into my courtroom, you have the best chance of leaving. And you're saying that that's who didn't tell you to show up. That's what our city council is telling us. I didn't know I had court today, man. You have 30 days, and only our water system was depending on this. I mean, our rate of 20 million, per year is depending on this. So, yeah, if you like it, I love it. And that's not we don't love it, obviously. That's why you look on our website and we're putting up verbiage and we identifying who your city council person is. And we're setting up petitions like everyone is. It don't need to be one. We'll do it. Action has to happen. We got to get past the point of where we're letting these folks play in our face and there's absolutely no reaction to it. The cry, we say, will continue until it's heard throughout the United States. Jackson has one of the highest numbers of black lawyers in the United States, especially in predominantly black communities. Lawsuits should be flying out of this city by the ones, the twos, the threes, the fours at least. It should be folks coming into the community. Hey, pro bono, no, I'm not looking for anything. Hey, listen, let me see your bill, your water bill. So what happened now? So you're 92, you got one sink, and you can't move but 5% of the day? Well, how would your bill be $2,000? Now, what were you told? Pay it or I cut you off? Wow. Let's go ahead and let's set this lawsuit up. Ain't no heroes on this radio station, just alerters. Woo, the boys on the block, hey, you, whatever call you used to do, that's what we're doing is swaying our hands because we see it. If you see something, say something. Yep. So you walked us into this water authority bill. We said fight the rate increase first, right? You didn't fight it at all. You all stayed quietly. When Ted Hennepin said in city council and said, the problem, and everyone in the United States that watched it, everyone else that watched it just assumed black people in Jackson don't like to pay their bills. Not that they've had muddy water, not that they've had dirty water, lead water, not that they've had no water, not that they've had low pressure, not that they've had children and parents, people that have had to go to school and work with bird baths at best, not that they've had $1 billion nearly coming to the city to fix all of this and they still have muddy water, still have dirty water, still boil water notices are learning everywhere, and still outside of Jackson Country Club, Eastover, still have streets that aren't getting fixed and got water flowing through them. And that's who you tell. Y'all just don't like to pay your bill. That's the problem. And our city council sat there. Our representatives, Gibbs, Kuda, they sat there and then working for the city government, they sat there. And so now this comes out and all of a sudden, the whole city council sat there. Kevin Parkinson said, I can appreciate that. And he was going to try to slow it down some. I believe that's what he was doing. And I'll say, no one else said anything. So now you want us to believe that you just didn't know how. So you don't fight the rate increase. Then Vernon Hartley gets told by Nikita Stamps, previous council person to council person. This is the egregious nature of this, you all. It wasn't the door washer telling Vernon Hartley to do this. It was a former council person that's now a public service commissioner. You can't make this up, man. He's who the rate case would go to. He's not gonna say this, I will. You got that's like a judge telling you, man, what you need to do is bring this into my case, into my courtroom. That's what you need to do before they take it off. This is what your council person did. Vernon Hartley was told by Nikita Stamps, who's the public service commissioner in this area, who the rate case would have gone under. That means a black man from Jackson, Mississippi would have been over controlling that rate case and what they have to show and what they can do to his home city. And he stepped outside a lane, came on Hartley's show and said it on air. Hartley took the show down. Council did nothing.
They don't think y'all paying.
But now they want you to believe that they're being done wrong. This is a civil rights issue.
They don't think y'all paying attention.
They think you're fickle and uneducated. John has made them believe the same thing he believes now. That's what we have to assume. John Horn has made the entire 7-member of the city council believe that you are as fickle and uneducated as he believed. Because that's the only reason they would think it's okay to wake up this morning or yesterday and say, we didn't know that you're going to pay $20 million more a year. And try to wind it down. Well, it's not that, but you got people barely making bills as it is.
12%.
12%. And you're talking about the amount and not the egregious fact that folks got bills that they're setting up payment arrangements on. You see the setup?
Yeah.
So you know the city is full of bills they can't afford and don't know how it got that way. You agree that that's unfair. So much so as a city, folks are raising money. They're trying to get to, so you know that's unfair. So much so it's pouring people's heart out because they know these people couldn't have done that. But then you go and allow a rate increase to an already weathered down, bricks on our shoulder situation. So now these elderly people have to figure out how to continue to pay that backup pay that they don't know how they're going to get. That's why folks are trying to raise money for them and pay you a 12% rate increase. City Council didn't lose a thing. Mayor John Horn didn't lose a thing. Ted Hennepin didn't lose a thing. The citizens of Jackson, the most vulnerable ones, are who continue to lose. In a city they were told ain't you know what. But now they want every piece of it. And they just giving it all away. It's not so funny now whenever you use that song. Now it's starting to look a little more relative.
And all that money we got back from the legislators, none of it's being spent.
You gave us back ARPA funds you withheld. I'm going to keep it right there.
Hold on.
And at best.
Hold on. Don't forget about the garbage money they basically stole.
Yes.
Don't forget about
You
that.
call Richard Disposal on the phone and ask them out of their contract, well, what they delivered, what have they been paid so far? Because where that money at? We're not getting it back into a trash debacle.
Yeah.
Who's better? That's what we're talking about. We want to know where our money's at.
Y'all got the money.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah, millions of dollars you ain't paying Richard Disposal. Where's that at, City Council? So you think, so, and this is why we say they think you're fickle and uneducated. This solely alone. The sister said it on our show. The sister said, didn't they withhold this amount of money from you all? They withheld 35 million in ARPA funds from the previous two mayors. Now, all of a sudden, Senator Horn comes in, and they give back the ARPA funds, but give 18 million to LaFleur and the Trinity Museum. Come on, man.
So what exactly did they give them to him? Just to improve it.
Improve it. 18 million of the God. That's like when they used to kill a black man in his driveway in the Deep South and then make his wife clean up the blood.
Yep.
Or kill him on a public street or something. Or when they charge you to bury the body of your loved one and it is murdered. Like it's not the same thing, but it's in the same spirit of that. That's how I look at you all. But when our own black city council members jump into the fray, along with our mayor, now, I mean, how many eyes can we have? Go look on the website, see who your council person is. Look at the verbiage that we put on there as a suggestion. Use your own verbiage. You're livid. Use your own verbiage. There's a link. City Council has a link. So when you click on that link on our website, if you go to our Facebook page, Make It Make Sense Jackson JXN, you see the post that gives all of your city councils information. You look in the comment, there's a link to click on it. It brings it right to their page, and you can just copy and paste or type exactly what you feel in there. But at a certain point, we're going to have to say something because this many educated people telling us they didn't know is crazy. Yeah.
At this point, we're going to have to say something. It's obvious.
Yeah.
They're not considering the citizens of Jackson at all.
At all.
At all. Can't be.
And it's for the people, this is, even though it seems like a weathered approach, and I know we do a lot on the show, we go live, we try to show as many angles as we can, but you have to understand, this is training 101. This is what we expected. This is what we saw happening. So we're not in that dark of a situation. I know I always say we come with news and good tidings. We do. Because if we recognize what folks are doing, like we're starting to recognize, then Vernon Hartley can't scream out, let my people go. Because we'll say to him, well, why you tie him up?
Yeah. I hate to say this, but I feel like even if they know about the appeal, they still will let this almost curse, let it happen.
I'm not saying he gonna take us off it. But yeah, no. Yes.
They making it seem like, because we know about the appeal, we could have did something. Y'all still want to do it.
Yeah, that's called precedent, man. When you ignore somebody, when you ignore the keeping stamp saying file a rate case and you don't even bring it to your city council to discuss them, when a young man says, I don't think you would have responded if you knew, it's valid.
No, you wouldn't have.
This is weaponizing competence.
Weaponized incompetence. This is what they're doing to a city full of. We've got to make this more national, y'all. That's one thing I guarantee you. Cut off their outlets. And what I mean by that is, don't let these black elected politicians move throughout the United States. I got family in Chicago. You got family. I got family in Cleveland. We got family in New York. You got family in Detroit. We've got family and loved ones everywhere. And I'm not talking about anything. I'm talking about how we do it as a family. If your cousin been over here stealing from all the family members, well, when he come to your house, make sure you sit him down and say, man, talk to you, man. Why you over there stealing, boy? You ain't gonna keep coming over here and eating and you over there stealing. We have to start spreading the word that folks here are incompetence, weaponized incompetence at best, bro. At best. At worst, you're getting some out of this. Because at the point when 7 people, 80% who have higher level degrees and have been over 50 people, some of them, in the military where people's lives are at stake, attending West Point Academy at the time, when these type of folks tell you, we didn't know, y'all knew. Man, come on, bro. Yeah. That's when you in a room and everybody telling you they don't know who stole your stuff.
It's just the idea of y'all convincing Jackson that y'all didn't know. Y'all knew, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I feel like I don't see how you didn't. I don't see how 7 folks, you all. So that means that after the water increase happens, either you're lying and you went to eat fried fish after they did the increase, or you really went to work. So if you went to work, what else did you do but look to see how we can stop this? So this is what we're going to spend the whole. What else would the Jackson City Council have done after the increase went up and we all showed up at City Council? What else would they have done for the next month except look to see how we can stop it? How could you not know of a deadline when that was the whole thing we as a people asked you to do? Oh, because you don't care what we asked you to do. Because you don't think you have to follow our wishes to stay elected.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we changed.
That's the bottom line.
That's what we're changing. Yesterday's price isn't today's price.
Nope.
Look on our site and look at just the suggested verbiage I put in that pinned comment, right? Let them know directly. We will vote you out of office. We will use everything within our legal means to make sure you never sit in office again. And if we can recall you in any way, shape, or form, ethically or any other way, we will.
Yep.
That's how you have to start talking to these folks for them to start doing what's needed for you.
They don't believe you.
You need more people. They're telling you. We don't believe you. You need more people. Come on, let's get more people. They're telling you that rap line. We don't believe you. You need more people. We're laughing in your face when we say it, right? We say it. They hear us on the radio saying it. They don't believe you, man. You can say it all y'all want. Show all the receipts you want the receipts. We got something good going on. Been going on 34 years, baby. You can't break that with some truth.
I can't see reelecting any of them at this point.
I can't see letting them stay. Yes, sir. And I went up there. I can't see letting some of them stay the rest of their terms. Some of this is too egregious. Do you realize that the last mayor, Chokwe Lumumba, the city council got together and voted on a resolution of no confidence?
They get together on that though.
So whether you agree or disagree, they could get together on that. But they couldn't get together for 10 minutes to see when the delay deadlines were to make sure you didn't pay another $20 million per year. I wish you would be mad at me for saying that. I wish you would. They couldn't gather for 15 minutes to review the options of, and I'm going to keep beating that because what else do you do? As a doctor, if you have cancer, what's the first thing the doctor looks? How to eradicate it. I don't know if you go to a mechanic and you got gas in your oil, what does he look for? How to get it out of there. So if the city council knows that we just went up by 20 million, what's the first thing they're looking for? How to stop it. And the one job they had for $20,000 a year, they telling us all 7 of them didn't do. So when all 7 of your students didn't do their homework, we know they were talking. Now let's talk real talk show talk. 7 of your friends all don't wear what they're supposed to wear to it. And they all said they was going to do it. Oh, y'all said that was corny. Y'all were going to do it together. Y'all got together and said this. That's 7. Now, all of the class decides to do something. Now, follow me. Now, the whole class decides to do it. Whole class. We didn't hear you say it, Mr. Such and Such. They're trying to play mind games on the teacher and make that teacher think she ain't giving it to
Now, watch this. Chief Brackney, you see what's going on? So I just want you to know, you see how they treat us.
She can't hear you. And I blocked every page. She don't hear She can't hear you. I mean, I don't want to. They only take me to bullies, to the car dealerships, and into white upper established business openings. That's all they take her. And she's not from it. She's from Pittsburgh. How would she know to go somewhere?
Well, this is one of the.
I think they got to set up.
One of the bottles in the ocean when you find it, you take the boat out.
Hey, I think they got patrol, JPD, some officers, like 5 officers set up. And they just, as soon as somebody come, like you and me, they come, they go, woo, they just pull you over when you get to it. It's got to be. How is she just never hearing about none of this? And listen to me, people. When I say, go look at her background before they scrub that internet, right? And look at how she talks and what she's about. You'll understand what I mean when I say, why would she not reach out to us? We the most comfortable show in town for her. I'm not saying other people, one voice you got, the woman's round table. I mean, other people she would want to sit with, but I'm saying that we talk like she talks. If you haven't gone and looked at your new police chief, Michelle Brackney, before she became a police chief, you're doing yourself a grave disservice. She had a show called Black Arm of the Law, and look at her on podcasts with other Black activists, just like us in the room and the people we big up, Black organizers on a full thing. One, she's on a guy with a hat that says, I can't breathe. So you know she's only with folks that are talking about the disgusting behavior that led to George Floyd's death. These are the type of people she also surrounds herself with, not just officers. So that's why you understand why they're doing everything possible. Nick Lott's making sure you can't comment, you can't tell her nothing, you can't DM, and they're trying to make it a crime. They're going to charge you with stalking, keep doing it. He's doing it. They go, I'm gonna leave it alone. I mean, I'm gonna shout it out over there. What are y'all saying? We're gonna be charged with stalking. But no, I think that that's a good point. And then you see the chief. I mean, lean into that. We got 15 minutes to land it, not even. But what's happening with the chief, real quick?
They recently just removed the contract from it said Mayor John Horn is asking the Jackson City Council to approve a formal and employment contract for the new city's attorney, Rochelle Brady, a move that would make her the only department head with such agreement.
But I don't have a problem with that money. Let's talk about what she gets for that money. Don't worry about the money. Worry about what they're paying her for. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What you mean?
Does it talk about what her contract and what she can and can't do?
A lot of stipulations, you know.
Oh, they done? Okay. And if it does, that's fine. I can say I can
I'm reading it.
Okay.
Horn said the city is exploring using philanthropic funding, something he said is allowing the state law to help cover those costs instead of relying solely on the city funds. We have other issues that we're looking at that came up in discussion. Horn said we're probably going to take another approach to supplement her house and travel as well as other considerations. It's unclear when or the revised proposal returns from council or the council for consideration.
Now hold on. Now she's supposed to have started like the first, and they still getting a contract together.
Yeah.
But remember when she went to contract, it was shaky.
Yeah.
When she did the contract, Tina Clay said, well, hold on a second. I thought that all we had was, 140? John, how you giving them 150? Something to that nature. Whatever he was saying, she was saying that that's not what it is. So it started off with shakiness with the contract where he basically, Mayor Horn, offered her an amount that the city was not budgeted to offer. I know that happened. But yeah, and I'm looking at the same thing. So basically, Jackson Chief Administrator CEO Peter Chewusin removed the item before it could be considered. Now look, that's the type of thing you got at the start. And whoever showed up at that city council, bless you, because you probably was the reason they pulled it. But they pulled that so that they couldn't. You didn't know what happened with it, just so you understand. So the item we're talking about, Tuesday, April the 7th meeting, the proposal was pulled from the agenda. They peeked their head out and saw too many people there, and then Chewusin removed the item quickly before it could be considered.